Yo, 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 yo.
Here we are.
Happy Thanksgiving, bro.
It's Thanksgiving, baby. You got your beverage?
Right now, man, I got my aloe vera. I'll show it in the camera in a bit, but aloe vera.
A little bit
Uh,
of aloe vera.
always something different.
I mean, different to say the
Mm.
least.
Yeah,
To
y'all
say
never
the
catch me with
least.
the same drink. It's Thanksgiving, bro. Come on, man. Not gonna catch me slipping on Thanksgiving. What you drinking, man? Wow,
Mm.
wow. You talking? I don't know. Please tell us what that is.
I got a little punch here that I made some leftovers here.
All right, surprise for the people. Hold up, don't even show it. Surprise for the people. Let me introduce us. Daniel, show them your drink. Where we at? Yo, all right. Again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Welcome to Drinks with a Nobody. I'm Savory. My boy Macho will be here in a second. I just want to
Hey.
introduce everyone. Let everyone know to have a happy Thanksgiving because we got a lot to cover today. We're gonna have a fun episode. And I'm gonna do a quick rundown since in Thanksgiving of where you can find us. I was gonna leave it to them, but I think let's just do it off the top really quick, man. Follow us at MachoFix88 at Twitch and Savory Edition. Follow us also on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram at Drinks with a Nobody. And again, if you're here watching the pre-recorded, this is the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. We're about to have some fun. Yo, Macho, I'm gonna pass it on to you so you can let the people know a little bit about what we're getting into today, man.
Well, today we're getting into a whole bunch. Hello. Hi. We're getting into a whole bunch of stuff today. We're talking about the origins of Thanksgiving and why we're probably going to try to sell you on the idea of why you should be able to celebrate it and why it's okay to celebrate it. But we're gonna leave that decision up to you. We're not going to decide for you. We got contrast and supporting opinions, and we got the great Nick Cannon. So stay tuned for Mind Your Business. Ah, yes, the great Nick Cannon always got some wise, wonderful words to share, and he had some things to say about the Great Thanksgiving at Howard University. Check this out.
Another session of Candace class, very special Candace class with Dr. Carr, who's been people in the comments. They loving everything that you have to say. They want to make sure they can always get in contact with you. Obviously,
I'm honored to be here with you.
Oh, it's an honor.
Anytime.
And we want to just give this one just some quick attention based off of this holiday that is among us called Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Now, Thanksgiving, as we know, is a holiday once you're in school that we teach to our kids that the Pilgrims and the Indians come.
First off, is this Nick Cannon?
That's my man named Cannon.
What is he wearing on his head?
Man, he's transitioned into the what would we call this? The
You know what he's transitioning from? Mariah doing him dirty.
Oh, I was gonna say the Afro Power. My man said Mariah. Afro and Mariah.
Mariah did a number on this dude, bro. Like, come on. Like, he had to go find his new identity after, like. So this goes to show you that Mariah, he surrounded his identity on Mariah. Because now my man went from having Mariah Carey as his wife, having kids with her, living a good life, to now wearing this thing over your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. Who is this person? By the way, shout out to my wifey. She's in the studio home office this morning because she's got work to do before we go and eat some turkey. So.
come together and they share a feast.
Friendship.
And friendship. And it's all about family and sharing when ultimately
By the way, it's a good
studies,
time
I'm pretty
to
sure
pause
you
it
can
really quick, right? So take a look at what he said, right? We try
What
to
did he say?
pretend like it's all about gratefulness and sharing a meal and all these things. He's going, I'm like, nobody's really pretending it's all that. The problem is we want to use, and we'll get into that a little later, but so people can have this in their mind. There's two sides of it, right? So it's okay to be grateful of something. That's all I have to say so people can keep that in mind. But let's see how he describes Thanksgiving. Let's keep going.
You'll be well. I mean, I don't think the audience is going to be really surprised at how he describes Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I might agree. You know,
kind
so
of expound on this even more is that really that feast was ultimately a celebration for a massacre of over 700 Native Americans. And then once Abraham Lincoln actually years later then sanctioned it a holiday and kind of tried to clean it up a little bit. But the actual, feast that the pilgrims were having during that time wasn't a celebration of friendliness or giving at all. It was really like, hey, they finally got some food because they had been starving.
That's right.
And
weren't they working
killed
together, Macho?
the godless.
I mean, they were. I was just thinking something that just flew off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Why an American
we're watching this for the first time with ya. Literally, we only watched the first 2 minutes, so everything's going to be brand new for us like it is to y'all. But yeah, go ahead.
What is it about America that gives way for this ideology? Like when the Romans conquered most of the world in their day, or like the Persians when they conquered the world. Like, is this new to America, or is this something that always existed as the conquered, always speaking ill of the conqueror? Are they just bitter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, part of it is bitterness because it existed, and now America is turning people to an idealistic view of how things were supposed to be rather than, hey, this is the reality, right? There's an idealistic view that sounds good.
Supposed
There's
to be.
also a reality.
What
right?
was it supposed to be?
It was
Like
supposed
what?
to be kumbaya, nobody dies, everybody lives happily ever after, and then you ignore history like we don't do survival of the fittest out here. You know what I'm saying?
Duh. I mean, what's wrong with me? Like, yeah,
Come on,
duh.
man. These people are, hey, that's what they, let's see what the canon says.
Indians, which they called it. So I would love to just, kind of pick your brain on that and just say, why is it that we celebrate Thanksgiving and why haven't we heard the truth about Thanksgiving?
The truth.
Well, I think you just laid it out. If you tell the truth, then you got to talk about it.
So, Savory, would knowing the truth make you enjoy the turkey better?
I don't think it will, man. But it would give you. But then again, they might be describing a part of the truth. I would say that is convenience for how they want to paint it, right? Because again, some of what they say, and again, they just painting it through the genocide lens. But if you want to look at it like that, you can turn history around every time somebody got conquered and say it was a genocide. So it was far from a genocide, though. But anyways, yeah.
They fought and they lost, right?
Yeah, it was actually a fight. Like, yo, 1, 2, 3, let's do this. Oh, you lost.
Yeah, yo, all right, rock, paper, scissors, says shoot. Let's see who gets this land. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Genocide, bro.
Right.
Yeah, that first Plymouth colony in the early 17th century. We know that they landed here in 1620.
Right.
Or as Malcolm said, Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Yeah,
right?
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock.
That's right. Plymouth Rock landed on us, brother.
Yeah.
And our Native American, the Wampanoag people in that region,
right,
Massachusetts, and they only came here, these white folks, with about 100 so-called colonists. 102. Wow. By the time they got through that first winter, they were celebrating the fact that they had survived, but only about half of them survived.
Wow.
Yeah, and we only a little over 50.
Wow.
So they had.
Take a look how they call them colonists too, right? So it's just this. You can argue that, but I've heard arguments on the other side. It's not necessarily colonists. Again, this is the reality of the world at the time.
Yeah,
So
depending on who. If you're the conquered, they're colonists. If you're the conqueror, they're the settlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're the conformist as well, they're the settlers. Yeah. So again, you're already putting a taint on what America should be by calling them colonists. They weren't colonized. Would they call it colonization in those days?
No.
Or were they calling it like, I'm conquering you, bro? Like, this is my land now.
Yeah. We're doing what everybody around the world was doing. But yeah, let's keep going.
had a little harvest, but before they had that harvest, they were dying from disease and starvation.
Right.
There are only 2 accounts that survive that give any testimony as to who was there at that first Thanksgiving, and both of them written from the white side.
Right.
We know.
Oh! So they lose. Okay, wait, whoa! Wait, whoa! Did I just hear that correctly? There were only 2 accounts, and it was written from the white side about that first Thanksgiving. So how are you gonna tell me anything otherwise?
Hey, he's making his own conclusion on why the white person was writing wrong history.
Wait a second. Can we play that one more time? What?
Give any testimony as to who was there at that first Thanksgiving, and both of them written from the white side.
Right.
We know now, look at some of the records of trials, for example.
All right. Pause it.
Just eating vegetables.
Pause. It's about that time we let the audience know this first segment, so we can have a quick vote, so we can continue. All right, you got a headache right now. I'm trying to see what's going on. So you tell me, let's have your vote right now to Nick Cannon and this Howard eloquent professor mind their business, or should they carry on with this narrative? What's your vote here, man?
My vote is both y'all need to mind your business. Because what?
History was written, right? That's what you say.
What's your vote before I give my little soliloquy here?
My vote is, yeah, it's mind your business. You're trying to recreate a history with your narrative. That bothers me. Even if 2 white people wrote it, like, what are you doing now? Going back in history to telling us what they missed, that what they didn't write? Did you dig up some evidence we didn't know? I don't know. It's just
this is arrogance.
It's dangerous.
This
so
is
I don't.
Just pure. This is pure arrogance. I have the truth.
Yeah.
I could tell you the truth. Let's continue through today's lens why we hate the white men. So let's look at history through those eyes. Remember, we hate the white men today. So let's continue hating them in our history. So everything, I'm telling you, everything
today and taking it all the way back to why it's still relevant of white privilege and all. You're really just carrying that backwards in time to justify what you believe today.
Like, and this guy is a doctor. He's a professor at Howard University.
So he gets paid to teach this.
He gets paid to teach propaganda that he don't really have anything to validate this. So you're telling me you're looking at tribes' records? Tribes? How were you able to decipher that language? Yeah. Through current Native Americans, whom also hate white people, so they can manipulate it however they want?
Yeah.
Guys, we're not stupid. Come on, we're not that stupid. We're smart. We know what's going on here. Wow.
Let's keep going with this. Is amazing.
They were eating meat, but some of the meat includes
human meat.
Human meat, brother. Because when you starving and somebody died, you looking at them like, well, you're not using your body anymore, so maybe I just need to eat you.
So at the first Thanksgiving, they wasn't no turkey.
Well, they were giving thanks that they didn't have to eat each other anymore. Right. Although in their defense, in a little bit, some of them were tried for that because cannibalism was still something that they didn't want to do.
That's also, as a disclaimer, that's also part of the reason why they called Native Americans what? Savages. Because they would not only turn against each other, always fight against each other, betray each other, sell one another as slaves. When they conquered them, they also would eat them when they died.
From what I learned too, really quick, tell me if this is a stretch, but from what I've gathered, it seems like they had different tribes and some were more savage than others, right? So some of those tribes that were really, really savages, we're talking about cannibalism, although it wasn't most of them, but there was a small sector in that tribe that was feared because they were willing to kill and eat you.
Yeah.
Prior to the settlers, conquerors, aka whatever you want to call them, getting there. You see? So that's the history we ignore to justify the narrative of the conqueror and, whatever other.
Savory, every year the Vikings would sacrifice a human sacrifice to the gods. Valhalla. I forgot who this person was, Odin or something like that. They would do human sacrifices. The Aztecs used to do human sacrifices, eat children, do all those kinds of things. Again, this is where
Crazy.
I would I my rationality, I would look at the Puritans or the English settlers as judging the natives through their lens. They're coming from a structure. They're coming from monarchy. They're coming from democracy in that light, right? Not governed by the people, but governed by a king. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
order, there's knighthood, there's class system, and you're coming to a place where there's none of that. None of that. They're just all in their own little tribe and they're wild and they're doing whatever the hell they want, it looks like. So
Yeah.
imagine how they're going to judge that. You know what I'm saying? So again, with a disclaimer, of course they're going to say what they say, but they're also going to take precedence because why? They're the conquerors. They won. So yeah, I feel like again, Nick Cannon has lost himself after his marriage because his wife was probably his identity. And because of that, he has now found a new identity, and that is in this weird, endless babble rhetoric of the emotions. And he has now built his foundation and his identity on something that is meaningless. Honestly, it doesn't
Yeah.
really change the way I taste the turkey every at Thanksgiving.
Well, quick random fact. Why not? It's Thanksgiving. Let's have some fun. Do you know he was working on the Dr. Sebi documentary?
Who
Nick Cannon.
is
Right?
he?
Yeah. So my wife just let me know. Plus, my
The
wife also
executive
another
producer. The
interesting
executive producer.
executive producer texts me that he also believes in polygamy. Might not be relevant, but cool for people to know some facts. You know. So
Ah,
that's another reason where, you know, so and then there's word around Mariah Carey is bipolar and this and that, you know, whatever. But
she
that's it.
crazy.
There's a little history on Nick Cannon, so
She
we just
crazy.
finished watching him. So yeah.
I got to be careful with what I say, because I'm just playing.
Yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
I don't want to get into a fight and get shugged. You know what I mean?
So hold up. Where we going here? Where we moving here?
So we're moving to this next clip here in our next segment, which is Nobody versus the Experts. Perfect timing, Savory. Again, we have two opposing sides. One tells you what happens in their lens and their perspective of what went down because they feel the truth, no matter what, will set you free and it'll make you taste your turkey better. Where the other side, the PragerU side, wants to talk about it from a historical lens in our presidential, from when our country was separated, but had a time to stop and have some gratitude in the midst of bloodthirsty war. So
Yeah.
we're going to
And
play those clips here.
and we want you guys to decide yourself. Who's the nobodies? Do you think Nick Cannon's the expert? Do you think PragerU's more of an expert? Do you think who's the nobody? You decide that this episode. Again, happy Thanksgiving. We'll let y'all decide and do the work, and we'll take it from there.
Facts.
Including Tisquantum. Known famously as Squanto, he had come to tell them in perfect English that Massasoit had arrived. After years of dealing with
In perfect English,
the Saxon did not trust the newcomers. Edward Winslow was sent to be a hostage and declared the settlers' peaceful intentions. Satisfied, Massasoit walked into New Plymouth and was
just have to echo that, Savory. He talked to them, Squanto talked to them in perfect English. Just to throw that out there, just so people can see.
regally greeted by the governor. A peace treaty was created, ensuring mutual protection if attacked by enemies. With the help of Squanto, New Plymouth settlers began to fare better. He taught them how to grow crops and was absolutely vital as an interpreter. To the separatists, he was a gift from God. But in fact, Squanto had been kidnapped from Patuxet in 1614 and shipped to Spain to be sold into slavery. He ended up in London at the home of a merchant who taught him English and arranged for Squanto's return to the Dawnland in 1619. But Patuxet was...
And so here's the inconsistency. So he knew perfect English to talk to the settlers, but then when he got kidnapped, taken and sold to slavery, which pretty much every person who was conquered was at
Well,
the
that
mercy of
happened
the conqueror.
before then. Didn't that happen before?
Before what?
Before him coming back? He got kidnapped, learned English. So by the time he came back, he knew English. They might be saying
No,
it
but
backwards.
it could be. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The
I think they're
inconsistency.
messing up their timeline, but from what I learned, and we'll see it also. Oh, not in the
So
video.
he
we'll
didn't
watch.
know. So he didn't know English at first.
Yeah, he got
told him-
kidnapped, and then when he came, yeah.
Got it. Because this will make me taste my turkey better. Hold on.
was now gone, wiped away by the epidemic. Massasoit took him in with suspicion because of his years abroad, but needed a translator to parley with the newcomers. He eventually sent his warrior Hobamok to live among the settlers and keep an eye on Squanto. By fall, the settlers had a bountiful harvest and a feast was held to celebrate. Massasoit showed up with 90 warriors and 5 deer for the meal. For 3 days, the English and Wampanoag...
This is what they were referring to. This is the time that Cannon and that professor was referring to. They were happy to make it out of that harsh winter or that harsh time where they didn't have any food and it was scarce. So they had this time to come together.
ate and entertained one another. This was the famous first Thanksgiving children learn about in school. However, the word Thanksgiving would not have been used by these settlers to denote a harvest feast.
Right.
For Puritans, a day of Thanksgiving was a day of fasting while giving thanks to God in prayer. But the story of Pilgrims and Indians does not end here. During New Plymouth's first year, Squanto had been up to something. Realizing his substantial power as the only English speaker of his people, he conceived a plan to overthrow Massasoit. He persuaded locals he could command the English to make war or peace at his will. Hobamok was suspicious of Squanto and warned Governor Bradford. Soon enough, they discovered Squanto's plot and informed Massasoit, who was furious.
There's some inconsistency here again, Savory, and that is, how are anybody else able to warn the governor if Squanto is the only English-speaking person? You know what I'm saying? So again, there's some language barriers here. Either they were speaking the language or they weren't. I'm not sure. There's a lot of inconsistencies. Again, we just heard from the professor that there are 2 accounts, and those official 2 accounts were white people, as if that matters. The other accounts is from the tribes. The tribes are going to speak whatever they want. And who's translating it? Them who hated them? Come on. Give me a break.
He demanded Squanto be handed over for a swift execution. Bradford refused. The interpreter was too valuable to give up. But according to the treaty, Squanto's life belonged in the hands of his sachem. Bradford finally conceded. He was about to hand over Squanto when an unidentified ship appeared. The alarm it caused delayed Bradford and worried Massasoit's envoys. Angered and impatient, they left. The ship carried 60 Englishmen planning to build a colony near Boston. They abused the Massachusetts locals, initiating a conspiracy to kill the colonists. Warned about the plot, New Plymouth's leaders launched a preemptive strike to save their impudent countrymen. It bought peace for a time. In that time, more Puritan settlers arrived, soon outnumbering the natives. And while the Pilgrims' Treaty with Massasoit lasted until the sachem's death, other Puritans were not concerned with such alliances. Their fanatic religious principles ensured no peace between the 2 cultures could last. To Puritans, Native Americans were the other, wild, savage, godless. With such an ideology, the outcome was inevitable. If they did not convert to Christianity and surrender their cultural identity, they had to be eliminated. The first Thanksgiving was a brief moment of harmony between 2 worlds, but sadly it was short-lived. The capitalist opportunities the Dawnland presented...
The capitalist opportunities. What is this man talking about? Like you again, judging history from today's lens, using the same language today, both are guilty of. Both Cannon and the doctor, both these people are guilty of using language today to describe yesterday. Come on now. That's not how it was.
Yeah, they both did it. That's a good point. So, and what they're doing here, they're using capitalists and they're showing you where they stand. They're using the word genocide and showing you where they stand.
What was it? Colonizing, right?
Colonizing. You're saying these terms show you where they stand rather than laying out like, hey, this is what was told to us, right? It's okay. It's good to question stuff, but when you come to an assumption of an genocide or colonization or capitalism right away, it's almost like, why would you like name it that right away? Relax.
Again, you're giving these natives a bad rap. You're saying that they're victims. They were warriors. Yeah. They stood for what they believed in. They wanted to fight for their land. You think they really want to be called victims? That's a slap to their face in their history.
Good point.
And this is why we're saying what we're saying here. Guys, we're not delusional. We're not stupid. We understand that this could look bad today, but we weren't living there. Today is not yesterday. Facts. So we cannot judge it based off how it looks today and how we are today. I'm glad we're here today. But again, yesterday was different. Those times were different. And they would not want to be called the victims or we were a genocide. It was a war, they would say, because we're warriors and we fight to the death. All right, come on, guys.
And right now we went from one side. I love how this is going because we went from one side, right, where genocide, colonization, the history in one way. Now we hit that kind of, I won't call it middle ground, but that elevation of another side. Now we're going connecting it more to, if this is from that time to American history, we're going to connect it a little more to American history here. And I think this is going to be interesting for people.
I like the hand illustration that you're doing there. All in love, Savory. All in love.
Let's go.
In Plymouth, Massachusetts, in the autumn of 1621, 53 men, women, and children celebrated their first harvest in the New World. The great Indian chief, Massasoit, brought 90 of his men to the 3-day party. From all reports, a good time was had by all. How did this event, which happened almost 400 years ago, become a part of the American story and our oldest national tradition? Credit goes to many people, but two stand out. One you know and one you should know: Abraham Lincoln and Sarah Josepha Hale. More on both in a moment. As a religious
Already, I'm sure some people are going to discredit this. Why, Savory?
Because the white man wrote it.
Oh, okay. Wow. Bear with us, folks. We have to stop this every now and then. PragerU is a huge organization, and we have to be mindful of that. So we have to stop this every now
I
and
don't
then.
think they'll be as stringent with the copyrights as these mainstream, but let's still stop it just in case.
Or maybe I could leverage the fact that I'm a Prager Force or PragerU Force member. You think I can get away with it? I don't know.
Send them an email like, hey guys.
religious people, Americans have always had a keen sense they have been blessed by Providence. The Pilgrims certainly felt this, and so did subsequent generations, including George Washington. Washington was the first president to declare a national day of public thanksgiving and praise.
So again, it hasn't been refined. It hasn't been set yet. So this is echoing the previous video that we were talking about. It wasn't necessarily Thanksgiving, wasn't talked about as a day of Thanksgiving. They just talking about it like, okay, in the midst of times of tension, let's have a day of gratitude, right? So you guys continue to see.
But it wasn't until the Civil War that the idea of a National Day of Thanksgiving fully took hold. In the autumn of 1863, at the height of the Civil War, when Americans were bitterly divided, Abraham Lincoln nevertheless called for a day of national thanksgiving. Lincoln began his proclamation this way: "The year that is drawing toward its close has been filled with the blessings of fruitful fields and healthful skies." This was an extraordinary way to characterize 1863, the bloodiest year of the war.
So should we now take that moment in history that Abraham Lincoln labeled, sanctioned as a national holiday? Should we now take that and talk about the atrocities that were done and the people who were conquered and the many lives lost, right? The point of doing these things is a sense of unity. I'm not saying we ignore it, but why am I going to go to the other side to paint my own narrative of history? Again, some of what they say is true, but it's not. Look what he just did in the midst of a civil war, right? It's a national Thanksgiving holiday. You know, let's keep
Just have gratitude. Just have some form of gratitude. Like in the midst of tension, in the midst of chaos, let's take the time and thank somebody. Thank God. Thank our country. Thank our freedom. I don't know. Just thank something.
The war. But even in the midst of a civil war of unequaled severity and magnitude, Lincoln continued, the nation had much to be thankful for and much to look forward to. The day was coming when America would again be united and experience, as Lincoln put it, a large increase of freedom. It was a profoundly hopeful message, reminding Americans of their nation's capacity for renewal. Lincoln's decision to call for a national Thanksgiving came at the urging of a far-sighted and persistent magazine editor who believed such a celebration would have a deep moral influence on the American character. Her name was Sarah Josepha Hale. More than any single person,
all right.
believed-
I want to say something.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me tell you why this is important. This is the person in our country separate from the Thanksgiving, separate from, I'm saying the history of Thanksgiving, all right? Separate from these things, Look at why someone wanted to push the holiday so hard. She saw it. She was an editor who saw it, who saw the importance of uniting, being thankful, gratefulness of the entire nation united in the midst of war.
And what is her pronoun? Female.
Come on. And that's a beautiful thing. Look.
Reason we celebrate Thanksgiving today. By the 1840s, many states had established an annual day of Thanksgiving, but the date varied widely from state to state. Hale saw the value of a day in which the entire nation celebrated as one. For 2 decades, she conducted a campaign to consolidate public support for her idea.
Wow.
As the influential editor of one of the most popular periodicals of the 19th century, year after year, she wrote columns making the case for the holiday.
And just to say something here, the idea is not to praise a white-skinned Anglo. The idea is to praise what she wanted to get accomplished. That's what Savory is talking about. That's what we're talking about. And as this episode begins to come to its end, we're going to talk about why this is important to me and Savory.
Yeah.
She published fiction and poems with a Thanksgiving Day theme, and she offered her readers recipes for traditional Thanksgiving dishes, such as roast turkey and pumpkin pie. And by the way, she also wrote the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Hey.
Presidents Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, and Franklin Pierce, to whom she had written letters, showed little interest in her cause. But Lincoln saw its potential.
Now, hold on, go
His
back.
proclamation was the first and
Those were prior presidents?
Those were prior presidents, yeah.
Let me see, sir. Just saying, like, American history is interesting because a lot of presidents, many people don't know
about their names.
Yeah, their names.
Yeah, because it all depends on what significance happened during their time as presidency.
Most
we hear of like
are irrelevant in a way, only the big ones people really know about. Yeah,
because a lot of them really didn't want to be involved, right? They wanted to. American presidency or American government in the early days was like, I'm good. I don't really need to be involved so like much.
Yeah.
I don't need to be at the forefront. Just let's see what the country does and let's work from there.
Nah, let's go.
What became an unbroken string of annual Thanksgiving proclamations by every subsequent president. Congress finally sealed the deal in 1941, when President Franklin Roosevelt signed legislation making Thanksgiving an official national holiday.
So this started in 1863.
Mm-hmm.
Took almost nearly 100 years before they declared this a national holiday. I mean, are we not a snail country or what? That's crazy.
Lincoln and Hale believed the act of expressing gratitude had tremendous healing power.
Facts.
In his Thanksgiving proclamation, Lincoln spoke not as commander-in-chief of the Union forces, but as president of the entire nation, North and South. He made no reference to rebels or enemies. Rather, the president spoke of the whole American people.
This is powerful. This is powerful. Yeah.
So hold up, wait. What do you so it almost seems like there's not a correlation between the settlers, Native Americans, the actual history when the holiday was rolling out, right? So it's not, we're attaching it to that.
The PragerU videos have gone there before, but with this video specifically is just to give people, hey, look, there are other points of history that point to a brighter light as to why Thanksgiving even happens today.
Yeah.
Not about the 1621. Look at the 1863. Look at 1941. Look at where we are today.
Yeah.
We are
We can go
united.
forever on the back and forth of the 1600s. When we come here, the question is, how did we get here? And are people being bigoted and hatred and kind of purposely celebrating a holiday in that way? No, it's actually causing good for the unity of the people. So,
Facts. And again, it's not going to make your turkey taste any worse or any better knowing this, right? But just
celebrate.
There's a reason where we're going here. And let's continue watching this because there's a reason.
And culture. Thanksgiving, our nation's oldest tradition, brings us together, just as it brought the Pilgrims and Indians together in
That's it right there.
1621.
That's it. Point blank
Lincoln
period.
said it best when he called on every American to celebrate Thanksgiving with one heart
In
and
the
one
middle of the Civil
voice.
War.
Thanksgiving gives us a moment to focus on the blessings of being Americans, on the prosperity, security, and freedom we enjoy. If Lincoln could focus on these blessings in the middle of the Civil War, we should certainly be able to do so today. Here's a suggestion.
Here it
At
is.
this year's Thanksgiving table, ask everyone to spend a minute to say what they are grateful for.
This is it,
I
guys.
suspect you'll find your guests will have a long and eloquent list, and if they don't, you can help them out. Suggest they start with family, friends, and living in the freest country in the world.
That's it.
After all, if we
That's it
don't
right
give
there. And
thanks,
again, for
what's the
some of our
point of
viewers,
Thanksgiving? I'm Melanie Kirkpatrick.
some of our viewers, and that's the end of the video anyways, but some of our viewers might not be in America, but hopefully you got something to be thankful for. And I don't know if it's a national, well, they don't celebrate it that the same way in many other places, right? So Thanksgiving is more US holiday here.
It's an American holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an American holiday. So it's the gratefulness of that holiday in America. So yeah.
Again, and the significance of this is not about the history, folks. It's about right now. You are existing at your dinner table tonight with your family. You are there enjoying laughs with someone that may not make it to next year. You are enjoying time with friends and families that you haven't seen in years, right? I don't know what your circumstances are, but put that aside. Enjoy them. You don't get to choose them. Have gratitude, because gratitude is what gets us to mend these tensions. When we're thankful that we're here, when we look up to the stars, whoever you believe, no matter what you believe, when you look up to the stars, you could be thankful that you're here and you're breathing and you're happy.
Especially
Just
in
at this
America.
moment, right now at this moment, especially in America. What
Yep.
about your take? What's your take on your gratitude? What are you thankful for?
Yeah, I think, look, history is always going to have a dark side to it, right? I'll start with that. History would always have a dark side to it, right? So when I
Absolutely.
think of that, I think to myself, it's not, let's not talk about it, but the problem is people don't want it. It's not that people want to talk about it. People tend to use this argument, oh, we're just going to talk about it. No, they're not talking about it. What people actually want to do is not only talk about it, but paint that narrative entirely through their perspective rather than say, look, this is the harsh reality. These are some things I disagree with the holiday, but all in all, it's Thanksgiving. And what is it for? When we look at history, it was passed in the midst of a civil war that took 80 plus years to become a national holiday. But when it did it help the country or did it divide us? It helped us. So that's my
That's
two
right.
cents on that,
And don't allow to
Yeah.
feed into anybody who divides you on this day. We want to encourage you. Two liberty loving Latinos want to encourage you. Drink the booze, enjoy the turkey,
Yeah, man.
love your mother and your father, love whoever you're with today.
And if
Because
you're that elephant in the room with your ideologies that might be different, again, come join our channel, man.
what
Hopefully
are you
we
thankful
create
for
unity.
today? What are you thankful for? Just get a little personal with the audience.
Man, I'm thankful. I'll keep it simple for me, and I got a long list, but I'll keep it simple. Look, I'm thankful for America's just freedom I got. You know what I'm saying? You know how big I am on that. I'm thankful I'm married. I'm thankful I got a family. There's people who literally, it's a list of small things that I like to be thankful for that literally are the heart of why you should be thankful for, right? Like there's a
That's
lot of
right.
things I could have had or I still want that I don't have. But again, am I going to sit on that? No, I'm just thankful for a lot.
I'm thankful
Shout
for
out to
my.
my executive producer, our executive producer, my
That's
wife.
our
Earl.
executive. That's our executive producer. She doesn't want the job,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm giving it to her. Like she's anointed. You know what I mean? A shout out to my wife. I want to my soon to be wife. I'm thankful for her. I'm thankful for my two kids. I'm thankful for their mothers. I just I didn't get to tell Savory this, but I sent a very encouraging text message to my son's mother, and I said, "This is what I want to encourage my son with," and that was this Larry Elder quote. He says that you are in control of your effort, right? Put 100% on your effort. You may not be in control of the outcome of that effort, but that shouldn't be your focus. Your focus is your effort. Put 100% on your effort, and you see where that takes you. And that's what I sent to her this morning. And she said, this is exactly what I want to share with our son. And that's what matters. I said, that's all that matters. We share that. We leave that as a legacy. And that's what I'm also thankful for, that we can come together on that.
Than that. That's awesome right there. Yeah, be thankful for your family, for your wife, for your kids, all that, you know? So we got our last segment here called Sip on Facts, right?
That's right.
I got 10 cool Thanksgiving facts. I got a list of 10. But Macho, I'm going to let you choose these numbers. And if anybody in the audience, you're watching a pre-record and you want to hear some of these more, comment below. We'll send you some of these Thanksgiving fun facts. But I got 10 facts in front of me, Macho. I need to pick 3 numbers from 1 through 10, and I'll read those Thanksgiving fun facts. Talk to me.
All right. About the fun facts?
No, you're going to pick a number for me. I'm going to read these facts. We're going to do them random.
5.
I got 10 in front. You got 5, all right? Number 5 is Thanksgiving dinner hasn't changed much over the years. The food eaten at first Thanksgiving feast in 1621 was not too different from our modern standard. The pilgrim's meal consisted of turkey, venison, waterfowl, lobster, fish, clams, pumpkin, squash, berries, and fruit. Aside from the seafood, most of these food are still staples of our present-day Thanksgiving dinner. That's 1 right there. Let's give him 3. Give me 2 more numbers from 1 through 10.
Number 3.
Number 3, let's scroll up. Macy's has put on a parade every Thanksgiving since 1924 in New York. The first Macy's Thanksgiving parade was put together by Macy's employees and featured animals from Central Park Zoo. These days, giant floating balloons are the parade's primary feature. In the modern era, it is estimated about 3 million people attend the parade and 44 million watch it on TV. Wow. All right, one more. This is interesting. I like this.
All right, last one. Number 8.
Number 8. Let's scroll down. There is an official Thanksgiving postage stamp. In 2001, the U.S. Postal Service issued a stamp in honor of Thanksgiving holiday. The stamp was designed by artist Margaret Cussick to resemble traditional folk art needlework.
Wow.
That's our 3 Thanksgiving facts. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to hear more, comment below. I'll share this link with y'all. I'll give y'all 1 by 1 more. Just a little teaser for y'all. But hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. Hello, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
That's
again.
Right.
We gotta end how we start. And yeah, real talk, like Macho said, enjoy what's in front of us. Let's let them know really quick where they can find us. We got follow us on Twitch, Macho Fix, Savory88. Follow us on Twitter, same handles. We got TikTok, we both doing our thing there. Discord, Drinks with a Nobody. YouTube channel. If you're watching now, you're probably on the YouTube channel. You're watching the pre-record, so welcome. Hit the subscribe, but also go back into some of our videos, enjoy them, and hit that like button because it helps us with the algorithm. Enjoy.
Cheers, Savory. Enjoy.
Cheers.